shall we dig into our 3 strategies that you have to offer us? Or really, if you imagine an educator and administrator who's interested in maybe um, getting started with bringing a therapy dog to school, but just doesn't really know where to start, like what pieces of advice would you give them? And I'll turn it over to you to start with just number 1, your first piece of advice.
I get asked this a lot, especially now because obviously, a lot of our local schools are moving towards this. I'm not a dog expert. I'm not an expert in the area of therapy dogs. My first bit of advice is you need to find a dog that is really motivated by being pet or being loved, and that is really laid back, doesn't want to jump, is not aggressive, doesn't bark. Those are things that you got to find. Finding a puppy and training a puppy, it's going to take you a year and a half to do this. So you're better off looking for a dog that a staff member has that is just a really good dog, and understand that a dog person is going to love their dog. And so you have to be able to see what they're like in class. You have to make that determination. And that's tough too, because a lot of people treat their dog, it's their family. So that's always a tough thing to do. But your first thing to look at a dog is, I wouldn't go down and call it a therapy dog. I'd call it a school pet, and get him trained in obedience, because that's the easiest thing to do, is get the dog obedience trained. Once you have the dog obedience trained, you can then go for the pet therapy. But a therapy dog is only going to work about 2 hours a day. So the other times you can have the dog as just the school pet, where they're roaming around and not doing therapy per se, but they're just being a pet, just being there, right? And so Tucker, we make sure that you don't want to say overworked, right? So if he's going to spend time with a student that's struggling, we'll have them with that person, but not for over about 30-40 minutes, because it is taxing on a dog. And so we want to make sure that they have that ability to play as well. So that's the first piece of advice. Find a dog that suits you, suits your school, is very laid back, and just look at it as a school pet, and then do the obedience training, and then look at the therapy part of it, because therapy training there's a lot of work involved in it.